Hello everyone, I'm Nora, or Willow, also known as NW Analysis, and as you may know, I love US history, especially presidential history. But what if, instead of talking about the POTUS winners, we talk about the opposite, the losers? Today we're going to look at the losers of elections, and see which of them embody the 7 deadly sins. The ground rules for this is that they must have been their party's nominee, so I won't be counting people like Jesse Jackson or Bernie Sanders. And also, they had to win an electoral vote. So yes, that unfortunately means John St. John will not be on this list anywhere. It's depressing, I know. And finally, no president who lost re-election will be on this list. So people such as Jimmy Carter or George Bush. And with that out of the way, let's begin. Starting with pride. Pride is the inflation of your own self-image and believing you're better than others. There are a lot of candidates who believe they would win the election in a landslide, only to lose. 2 of those being DeWitt Clinton, James Madison's opponent in 1812, and Mitt Romney, who was Barack Obama's opponent in 2012. But arguably the most famous example, and who I think embodies this sin the most, is New York Governor Thomas Dewey. Dewey ran against Harry Truman in 1948, and he, as well as the country, were so confident of his victory that they wrote newspaper articles ahead of time declaring him the new president, and that led to this famous picture spawning. This, in my view, makes Thomas Dewey worthy of the embodiment of pride. Now for greed. Greed is the intense, selfish desire for something. For this, I believe we need someone who only ran for the sake of power, and my choice for this, in my opinion, is the worst candidate to ever run, George Wallace, the former governor of Alabama. Wallace was a third-party candidate who ran in 1968 against Hubert Humphrey and Richard Nixon. He is a part of the American Independent Party. What really solidifies him here is not when he ran for president, but when his wife ran for governor of Alabama. After Wallace couldn't run for re-election due to term limit laws, he made his wife run for the governorship, and she was the first woman to win the title. However, she died 16 months into her term from cancer. She was unaware of the cancer, though, due to George Wallace hiding the diagnosis from her. This man, this absolute monster, hid his wife's cancer diagnosis from her for the sake of power. If that isn't greed, I don't know what is. Moving forward, we head to lust. Lust is the extremely strong desire for something, but it is often just stated to be an intense sexual desire, so we'll go with that definition. The candidate that I could find online about this was Gary Hart, but he was never the official nominee. There are also presidents who ran and had a lot of sex scandals, such as Grover Cleveland, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump. However, they all got elected. John Edwards was also found in this. However, he was only a running mate to John Kerry. However, I am going to give the title to Edwards. This is because, in 2004, a faithless elector in Minnesota gave their electoral vote to Edwards. This technically makes him worthy, so I'm deeming John Edwards worthy of the sin of lust. Envy is next. Envy is intense jealousy of something or someone. We could possibly go for someone who really wanted to be president, but then again, that could actually fall under the heavenly virtue of diligence. Looking on Google, most of the results give me Donald Trump, but that would break the rules. However, I was able to find one that I guess will have to work, because the only real result, William Jennings Bryan. Now, I myself would actually vote for Bryan in his first 2 elections, 1896 and 1900. However, I feel like in 1908 he ran for no apparent reason other than jealousy. He said in 1904, when he was asked why he wasn't going to run, that he agreed with Theodore Roosevelt on issues. However, he also said he felt like he was the logically correct successor to Roosevelt. This could mean he felt envious of William Howard Taft in 1908 when he lost. So I'm just going to give the title to William Jennings Bryan, I suppose, but I'm open to change. Now for gluttony. Gluttony is the overindulgence in something or lack of self-control. Once again, I'm getting nothing on Google, so I gotta rely on the old noggin. Wait, hang on, I'm getting something. It's telling you guys you should like and subscribe? Well, I guess you should listen to it. But it's also saying about how I'm kinda ignoring overindulgence, which I guess is a good point. And out of everyone, I feel like Henry Clay takes the title. Now, Clay is my favorite candidate in American history, but he ran a lot. He was discussed as a candidate in 1816, ran in 1824 and got 4th place, again in 1832 and got 2nd, 1844 where he narrowly lost to James Polk, and then finally he went for the Whig nomination in 1848 but lost it to Zachary Taylor. That's 5 times he could have gone for the presidency. That seems like overindulgence to me. That, in my opinion, makes Henry Clay worthy of the sin of gluttony. Now for the penultimate sin, wrath. Wrath is often characterized by a low temper or intense anger. This video is making me wonder how people vote for Donald Trump, because January 6th can be seen as wrath, but sadly he doesn't count here. I feel like George McClellan is in the running here. Seeing as he was fired by President Lincoln a few years prior, he may have just ran for a drive for revenge. Ross Perot couldn't handle criticism well, apparently, and if you play the new campaign trail as Perot in 1992, you lose most of your states due to Ross Perot saying, "Why you little?" This shows intense anger and puts Perot in the running. And between the two, it's a tough call, but I'm going to give the edge to George McClellan, so now he can be remembered for something being the sin of wrath. And finally, sloth. This one's actually pretty easy. My choice is Kansas Governor Alf Landon. Landon ran in 1936 against Franklin D. Roosevelt and got his ass handed to him. It was almost embarrassing. In fact, it was embarrassing for the Republicans. However, he knew he'd lose. He didn't even bother to campaign. He just kind of let his supporters do the work. FDR's campaign manager even joked about this, saying, "Considerable mystery surrounds the disappearance of Alfred M. Landon of Topeka, Kansas. The Missing Persons Bureau has sent out an alarm bulletin bearing Mr. Landon's photograph and other particulars, and anyone having any information of his whereabouts is asked to communicate directly with the Republican National Committee." Ouch. I almost feel bad here, but Landon has to take the sin of sloth. So that's it. The 7 deadly sins as failed presidential candidates. Thomas Dewey, George Wallace, John Edwards, William Jennings Bryan, Henry Clay, George McClellan, and Alf Landon. Thank you all so much for watching this video. By the time this video releases, Election Day may have already happened. Either way, make sure to tell me who you supported or voted for. Personally, I'm supporting Vice President Harris, mainly due to the fact I dislike Donald Trump. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.